So we are almost there. We are almost there. So let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, coming up next is someone who's going to be speaking on the lightning like you mean it. And this person, his name is, I hope I pronounce this right, Conor Okus. A round of applause for Conor, ladies and gentlemen.
Mic check, mic check. How we doing? How's everyone this afternoon? We're good? Good. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to spend 10, 15 minutes or so just speaking about Lightning and the Lightning development kit. Let's see, show of hands who has heard of Lightning. Okay, so like, yeah, roughly half the room or so. Who feels like they have a decent understanding of what Lightning is? If a bit less. All right, cool. So I'd assume then that not many people have heard of LDK. Just quick show of hands. Okay, cool. All right. So yeah, just for anyone who's not as familiar with what the Lightning Network is, it's a layer 2 solution on top of Bitcoin that scales Bitcoin payments. Typically, Bitcoin transactions are slow and expensive on the main chain or layer 1, and Lightning is one of the technologies that is helping us to scale Bitcoin at least a few orders of magnitude more than what we have now by taking all of those transactions off-chain and enabling kind of instant and cheap, fast payments. So let's see here. Typically, like when you're trying to build for the Lightning Network, there are a few implementations. So a couple of organizations and groups of developers work on different implementations of the Lightning Network. And those implementations have typically been around standalone Lightning daemons. So they're designed to run as like standalone binaries, and they don't come with a lot of ability for customization. So you'd run it on some kind of, beefy server or something like that, and you'd get access to the Lightning Network that way. So you're just running software ultimately. You don't have the ability to change it very much. So if you do have a special type of use case, that makes it a bit more difficult. So if you have like a complex architecture, or if you want to do something slightly different, in the past you maybe would have had to think about building your own implementation from scratch, and that can be quite a heavy overload and a heavy burden. So we created LDK, which is, speaking very loud here. We created LDK, which is a toolbox that provides developers a convenient way to build a Lightning node. So it is a Lightning implementation in its own right, but it's packaged as an SDK. So you can create custom experiences out of the box, pretty much. And here's a list of some of the companies and organizations that are using and have used LDK. So some of you might not be as familiar with some of these, but Cash App is a payment processor, I guess, in the US. Mutiny are no longer with us, sadly, but they did a lot of good experimentations for self-custodial Lightning experiences. We have BitKit here as well, who also do self-custodial Lightning wallets. So the range of different applications that are being built is quite vast. We also have Alby and Alby Hub, which is a browser extension, which enables you to do like instant payments and receive payments for specific types of content and things of that nature. So like the use cases vary quite a lot. So just on why people are building with LDK. So I spoke a little bit about on the rigid nature of some of the Lightning implementations. LDK was designed to be quite customizable out of the box, and it can run in various types of environments as well. So everything from a mobile phone to a hardware security module, HSMs, that type of thing, and it's written as multiple languages. So it's powerful in that it's written in Rust. So I've spoken to a few of you already, and we spoke about Rust as having quite a, let's call it a steep learning curve. But it is a very strong language in that it is quite lightweight. Generally, it gives developers a good developer experience while still having, I guess, fine-grained control over things like memory management and performance. But if you want to use LDK, you don't have to know Rust. We have something called language bindings, which means if you're a Java developer or a Swift developer for iOS or a Kotlin developer on Android, you can also use the tool via our language bindings. So it really is kind of developer agnostic. You don't have to worry about being proficient in Rust to use LDK. But if you do want to contribute to LDK, then you do need to know Rust. And yeah, just to touch again on its versatility. So I think the kind of North Star we're going for is trying to build really strong self-custodial, non-custodial wallets. But again, I mentioned it can be run in kind of these enterprise environments in HSMs or hardware wallets. For more infrastructure-focused nodes like Lightning service providers and routing nodes as well. Okay, so so LDK is an open source project. I don't think I even mentioned that. So it is an open source project. It is what we consider a public good. So it's primarily has a full-time team of engineers working on it from Spiral, where I work, but there are also a number of other contributors that have funding from other organizations that are contributing very, very strongly, very well to LDK as well. So there is no kind of single source of funding that supports the project. And I think over time that will continue. So you should feel free to jump along and come and contribute to LDK as well. Under the hood. Okay, so I'll go over some like high-level architecture. I won't go into the weeds too much, but basically LDK is a set of modules that you can customize to fit your needs. So in Lightning, you're going to need some access to on-chain data, and you can determine how you want to do that in a number of various ways. You might run Bitcoin Core software and interface just over like an RPC layer, or you might run an Explorer or Electrum server and interface with the blockchain that way, or some other custom solution that you might have. It's very much plug and play. You can kind of decide on what you want to do there, and it will depend on the environment in which your application is running as well. And it doesn't come with its own wallet, so you can bring your own on-chain wallet that comes with its own tooling, its own syncing mechanisms. Some people are kind of experimented with using like the Bitcoin dev kit for the on-chain portion of their Lightning wallet, which seems to work quite well. So you have the ability to do that. And then I'll touch on like the events are quite important in LDK. So every time something happens in LDK, as a developer, you're required to respond to it, whether that's opening a channel, whether that's generating a funding transaction, whether that's checking for payment success and failures. All of those are event-driven things that you need to handle as a developer, so you get fine-grained control over those things. I'm going to skip this because this is a bit boring, but it's just more about the architecture. I'm going to skip some of these as well. This is just like a very basic code snippet, which shows you like how one of the modules might work. So this is fee estimation. So when you're opening channels, when you're closing channels, you're going to have to do some things to determine how much fees you're willing to pay to open and close those channels. And we have a number of like different mechanisms for you to implement to do that. Similarly, if you want to like broadcast transactions to the Bitcoin network, we have like very simple and clean interfaces for you to do that. So you can do that in a number of different ways as well. So those are just some examples of that. But LDK is very beefy, let's call it. There are a lot of background knowledge that you have to have, a lot of APIs that you need to stitch together and plug together. So we identified that and we came up with ldk-node, which is a more simplified implementation of LDK and is designed to integrate into non-custodial mobile wallets. So it comes already packaged with a lot of the stuff that you'll use in LDK, very much a mobile-first recipe, and it includes a rich library with like with sensible defaults, let's say, and it also supports language binding, so you can write it in Kotlin, in Swift, in Python, in Flutter, and React Native as well, actually, which is supported by the Let There Be Lightning team. So again, you have the full suite of programming languages to pick from. Yeah, so Lightning development is tough. There's been a lot of good innovations that have happened over the last year or two that is going to make some of the user experiences very seamless and on par with what we see in the traditional financial system. But again, yeah, building Lightning stuff is hard, and there's a lot of infrastructure you have to manage to make some of those experiences seamless. Some of those things include LSPs, or Lightning Service Providers, which help solve the ability for someone to receive payments instantly without having to open a channel or without having to manage channels, which is a very technical and time-intensive endeavor. Also stuff like managing your Lightning state. Every time something happens in Lightning, you're periodically required to back up that state, and some solutions have opted to do that in the cloud, for example. So you might work with someone who's running a server to do that. That project is called VSS. So there are different kind of infrastructure pieces that are required to have a truly good non-custodial experience. And some of these organizations are represented in this slide as well. C equals, Let There Be Lightning, Voltage, and Kutamo. And you can work with these organizations to, at least initially, handle all of your infrastructure needs. And then as you get more comfortable, you can maybe in-house some of that stuff. So yeah, just some of the stuff on the roadmap very quickly. We've got async payments, which make it possible for especially mobile nodes to receive payments offline. Splicing to be able to change the capacity in your Lightning channels. Performance upgrades and LSP. The LSP spec is ever evolving. So when you're onboard into the Lightning network, you can choose different providers of who you want to interface with, basically. Yes, so that's it from me. Like, if you want to learn a bit more, you can head over to lightningdevkit.org and check out the Twitter and GitHub as well. And yeah, I'm here all day, all week. So yeah, feel free to come and chat to me.